Hello and welcome back to Lord of Heroes News here on Nyris Gaming. I apologize for the sparse content lately, but we have a new update incoming, and there's not a ton coming with it. There are some good things and some things I'm not quite understanding, so let's get into it. First things first, there is a coupon you can use, 2025 Valentine. I don't actually remember what this gave me, and the post itself doesn't say. If I remember right, there was energy and renown. The next update is going to be on February 19th. This is where I am excited and confused. We are finally getting our last Fram of the 5 elements, Dark Fram. She is a guardian. We'll get into my confusion later. She will be available on Featured Summon from February 19th to April 1st. And Fire Mikhail will be added to Link Summon. He is a very good AoE Fire Striker. Having another really good DPS option for your Link Summon choice at the beginning of the game is always welcome. Albeit, Fire has very, very many options when it comes to Strikers. Earth Astrid is going to be getting Spiritus Gems in the Essence Shop from the Obelisk. She is also getting some adjustments. And a new skill effect is being added, Power Amp, which will increase the damage dealt by 4% for every buff on the user, up to a max of 40. This confuses me, because as far as I see, they've added this in, and no playable characters are getting it, even Dark Fram. So it's just kinda here now. Only 2 balance changes this patch, Dark Brandon and Earth Astrid. Earth Astrid very much needs it. Dark Brandon is going to get an increase of 20% up to 100 for his chance to reduce defense on his 2. Weirdly, the part that changes on his 3 is not in red text. He does not get revenge currently, but he is now going to get revenge for up to 2 turns after using his 3. I would imagine the numbers on his debuff boosting damage are increased, and the spirit cost will get down all the way to 2 now. Earth Astrid will now gain a turn if she attacks a water elemental enemy with her 1, instead of when an enemy dies. Her 2 will now fill the action gauge of Earth Elemental allies, upwards of 30%, so she is kind of getting in line with Earth Olivia as well, them both being beginner, free-to-play Earth Snipers. Her 3 now has an upwards of 100% chance to reduce the attack of the target for 2 turns, and upwards of 100% chance to reduce the attack strength of the target if they are water, kind of similar to Water Lucilica's 1. It will also deal 300% more damage against water elemental enemies, which will be nice because it already ignores defense, and the spirit cost is going down to 2. I was just thinking the other day that Earth Olivia got adjusted to actual usability now, and was hoping that Astrid would soon, and here we are. There's going to be a showdown event starting the 19th through the 5th of March. It appears this will be an alliance-based battle against Mystic Beast. There will be 2 battlegrounds available with reward tracks with the following rewards. Looks like a lot of Dark and Light Soulstone fragments, and elixirs of insight and gold, and a decent amount of renown as well. Now let's get on to the confusing part. Here is our last Fram and our new Dark Guardian. She has pretty dang good health and defense at level 70. Her attack is kind of awful, which is another confusing point, and above average speed. Her defense is where I thought all her first scaling would be, but apparently not. Her 1 attacks a single target and has an upwards of 100% chance to reduce the attack strength of the target for 2 turns. It's kind of like Water Fram's 1, except attack strength instead of defense down. Her 2 is where it gets really weird. It has a 3-turn cooldown, AoE attack, increases attack and speed of all allies for upwards of 3 turns, triggers the following effects on the ally with the highest attack if the ally with the highest attack is dark, fills the action gauge by 100%, increases attack strength for upwards of 3 turns, but then also increases their skill cooldown by 3 turns, ignoring resistance and immunity. I don't know what the specific niche application for this would be, because her buffs are available elsewhere, including on specifically dark characters, like Dark Joshua, or Dark Aslan, or even Dark Crom with the attack up, and none of those increase the skill cooldown of the target. As far as I can tell, this is purely to have a high attack target in an AI-controlled battle ignore its second ability, but I don't know which target would benefit most from having purely burst focus or potentially have their 1 fired off more, because Dark Lumi's 2 is one of her primary sources of her damage, Dark Astrid's 2 is where she gets her berserk from, therefore a hefty amount of her damage, and Dark Buryu's 2 is where he gets his stacking attack. So this would ruin all 3 of those characters. Her burst gets down to a 2 spirit cost and attacks all enemies, dealing 300% more damage when there are fewer targets, granting her resolve and berserk for 30 turns, and action ready to all dark allies for 2 turns. This is also where I'm getting confused, because this reads as she is supposed to be doing a bunch of damage, but most of the people with resolve that are tanky, like Earth Elev and Fire Walter, have health or defense scaling. This Fram has no defensive scalings whatsoever. She is purely based on her attack. She gets no benefit from her defense towards her damage, and her attack, if you remember, doesn't even hit 1200 at level 70. So how is she supposed to be doing damage? Either that or her attack scaling is so absurd that she doesn't need a high level of attack. It all just doesn't seem to work together. The reason Berserk works so well on someone like Fire Erin is because she not only benefits from the attack like everyone else would, but she also has defensive scaling, and she has an absurd level of defense. Berserk increases both of those, so she gets a good hefty amount of damage increase. Again, with these passives, it more leans into her being a damage dealer, but then her 2 not only supports a target but also kind of ruins a target. This all feels like it's very all over the place and kind of a mess. Her basic relic is going to increase her defense, her refined relic is going to increase her damage against light enemies by upwards of 30%, and give a chance to fill the action gauge of dark elemental allies by upwards of 20% when attacking, so she can action gauge boost even more. Honestly, without testing her damage, I feel like this is going to be the better option, so she can be a purely focused action gauge booster for dark teams. And her divine gives an even higher boost against light elemental enemies, and a chance to counterattack upon taking damage, which, if you remember, only reduces attack strength, which is good to have, but compared to other counterattack abilities, this is very underwhelming. I was so looking forward to Dark Fram, and I've kind of been left feeling conflicted. I love her aesthetic and the color palette, but her kit just seems very disjointed, and her abilities seem counterintuitive to each other, and on top of that, her 2 seems like it's really obnoxious to use. So I don't know what to make of all this. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And that is going to do it for Lord of Heroes News on Nyris Gaming today. Thank you all for your patience while I'm finding time to make videos and prepping for ones in the future. Let me know what you think down in the comments about any of the upcoming changes in the next update. Like if you liked, subscribe for more in the future, and I shall see you in the next one.